Hey there, winners. We are in the middle of our series of the best of our podcast. This is where we showcase the best episodes in specific categories to make it easy for you to find what to listen to next. Now, when the podcast launched in 2015, it was launched as the #1 pageant podcast, and it still remains that today. So these episodes that we're going to be sharing with you in the best of series have been listened to by thousands of people all over the world and seen over 1 million views on YouTube. So we know they really are the best. Now, today's episode is going to feature our top episodes about the pageant judges. So you're going to hear from episode 75, which is 3 ways to stand out so that your pageant judges notice you. You're also going to listen to a snippet from 124, what pageant judges are really looking for. You're also going to hear from episode 52, which is 2 ways to get feedback from your judges, and episode 76, the 5 real reasons that judges judge pageants. Now, if you ever want to listen to the entire episode, which I highly recommend that you do, you can easily find these episodes by just entering winapageant.com/ and then the episode number into your browser. And then that's going to take you to that exact episode on our website. Okay. So for example, winapageant.com/75. Okay. So I really hope that you enjoy this best of series and that it helps to direct your pageant prep. Enjoy. You know, when you're competing in a pageant and there are only like 5 girls competing and you're thinking like, okay, this is good. Like my chances are really good. That is a very different experience from competing against, 12 or 50 or even 200 other contestants. Yes, there are some pageants where there are 200 contestants. I have seen them. I have even been in them. It is crazy. And getting the judges' attention among just 5 or even 12 contestants, that's really not as hard, to be honest. But once you get into 16, 25, 50 contestants, or, you can only imagine with 200 contestants, it is more and more challenging to really stand out and get the judges to notice you. Now, the first area to really stand out is in your preparation. Most women will have done a little bit of walking practice, and maybe they've spoken on a stage before, or they've done something in the realm of performing arts. But there is a big difference between most of those women and the woman that goes above and beyond in her preparation. You need to do something that takes you beyond the basics. You've got to prepare how to communicate your biggest strengths. You've got to have a game plan for your year of service, like what are you going to actually accomplish? You've got to know how you're going to market yourself and which appearances you'll prioritize during your year. Now, the second area that I can guarantee you will stand out is in your pursuit of excellence. Most women are squeaking by with what they bring to the table. They really try to figure out what is the least amount of effort that they can put in, and then they do just that. It's really unfortunate because they figure out how little they can spend on an evening gown to barely make it, or how few mock interviews they need to actually do, or what's the least amount of weight that they need to lose in order to fit in with the rest of the women. These women do not stand out. They aren't excellent, and they're not pursuing excellence. And so as a result, they just fit in with everyone else. The last area that will guarantee you stand out is in that of consistency. Now, most women, they try out something, and if they don't get immediate results, then they give up. Consistency is a standout quality because so few women actually have this. And I hate to say it, but especially college-age women. Now, it's not your fault. We all have had this happen to us in college because you are programmed to just hurry up and get to the finish line of a 12 or 16-week course. And during that time, you really have to become an expert in, for example, chemistry. Okay, for just that length of time. You've got to really know everything you need to know about chemistry. But then as soon as you pass your chemistry class and you're on to the next semester, now you've got to be a math expert. And now you've got to pass that math class. You got to dive in and you got to know everything about math. And then at the end of that, just give up on math. Okay. Now, this is a real problem. I mean, of course, in college, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be trying new things. You've got to master one thing, and then if it's not really the area that you're wanting to pursue, you got to move on to the next thing. I mean, I changed my major 15 times when I was in college, so talk about lacking consistency at that point. But in the real world and in the pageant world, consistency is reliability. When you prepare for your pageant, you've got to consider your communications, your wardrobe style, and the actions that you're taking that prove that you are able to stick with one thing that's going to take up a lot of your time, that's your pageant title, for an entire year, no matter how exhausted, annoyed, bored, or disenchanted you become. Showing consistency is not necessarily something that we do naturally. You've got to really think about the strategy that you're going to use to demonstrate how you're consistent in your life, because you've got to communicate that to the judges in a very clear way. But when you do demonstrate consistency, you will absolutely stand out. Listen, there is no mystery about what the judges are not looking for. They are not looking for somebody that's self-centered, some mean girl who hates people, okay? You know that, right? What they are looking for is a much longer list, okay? That's why we get stressed out trying to think, what are the judges looking for? What are the judges looking for? It's a really long list, and frankly, the judges do not even really know the details of that list until she walks in the room, until they really meet her, right? But there are 3 very specific characteristics that historically, pageant after pageant, actually win. The title holder must be relatable, marketable, and engaging. Now, let me break each one down for you. Relatable is the just like me quality, okay? It means that you are a person that has similar challenges and successes and experiences and stories and qualities that other people have as well. Now, the second is to be marketable. I would argue this is probably one of the most important for high-level pageants. It's the business quality. It means that you are linking their pageant and what it's going to take to attract their customers. It's like Nike would much rather hire a professional athlete than a high school piano player, right? Because it's completely misaligned. Now, the third is to be engaging. Now, this is the social quality. It means to grab and hold attention. So the best way to hold someone's attention is through storytelling, because there's a natural flow of feelings like taking a ride or watching a movie or something that is really going to draw people in. So I want to talk with you today about how to get feedback from your judges when you compete in a pageant. And there are 2 things I want to preface this whole episode with. Very important things that are going to help us to understand this, that it would be awful if I didn't talk about it. The first is that judges are real people. They're real human beings. They have life experiences. They have probably families and children. They have their own insecurities. They have their own joys. They have opinions, and they're just unique individuals, just like everybody else. So approaching a judge, asking them for feedback, things like that, should not be a scary thing. I also recognize, and I want you to recognize this as well, that judges are not gods and goddesses. Okay? So just as they are real human beings and should be seen as very approachable, everything that anyone ever says, especially and including judges, should be taken with a grain of salt. I'm going to teach you today 2 specific ways that you can get valuable feedback from your pageant judges after the pageant. You could simply ask, which of course is best executed in person. And the second is what I call the pen pal approach. I know that immediately after your pageant, okay, so the girl was just crowned, everyone's cheering, and the judges are, let's say, for example, the judges are brought up onto stage to have their photograph taken with the newly crowned queen. Now, I know that it is so tempting to approach a judge in that moment to ask for feedback, but don't do it. That is not the ideal time to enlist anyone's feedback, even the directors, the other girls. Nobody is in the place in that moment to give that type of feedback. It does, in fact, begin immediately after the pageant, but it doesn't end there. So let's just say that you have the opportunity to show your gratitude. Remember, you're showing your gratitude during the post-pageant photos, or like in the parking lot afterward, or you pass them by in the hallway, something like that. You want to start by saying, "Thank you so much for taking part in our pageant. We appreciate that you were here to be a judge." Just acknowledging the fact that they went out of their way, they're not spending time with family. Sometimes judges have to be in town for several days. Remember, they're not competing for a prize package like you. So if they're volunteering their time, they deserve your gratitude first. Now, if they're receptive to this conversation, then you could ask them right then if they might be willing to provide some candid feedback to you in the next couple of days or so that could help you in your pageant career. So I typically say it just like that. Hey, I'm planning on competing again, maybe this very pageant or another in the future. I would love to get your very candid feedback, and you don't have to share it with me right now, but would it be okay if I reached out in the next day or so to just hear your thoughts on how I did in the pageant? Now, generally, they will be so flattered and honored and jump at the opportunity to give you their entire list of ideas of how you really did, like people are like busting at the seams, ready to share what they really thought. So that's a great opportunity for them to say yes. Sometimes they will spout out a few tips right then and there. Other times they may give you an email or a phone number. I always ask, if they say yes, what is the best method for me to contact you? And when is the best time? Sometimes they will say no, and that's okay too. You want to just respect their wish. Now, the second approach ends very similarly, but starts with the handwritten thank you note. So let's say that the pageant goes by and you did not get the opportunity to simply ask immediately after the pageant or really create much of a rapport at that time. Instead, you want to show your gratitude for them coming out to the pageant, taking time away from their family, spending the day indoors, fairly judging your performance, all of that in a handwritten thank you note. Now, in that note, you could mention that you plan to continue competing, that you'd be grateful if they would share any feedback that could help to improve your performance in the future. And I say it just like that. And then I give my email and phone number. When somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, Alicia, I've got a quick question, or hey, can you give me some feedback? If that's the case, I just want to call them right away. As soon as I get that message, if I'm in the zone of responding to emails or Facebook messages or whatever, flipping through my mail, I want to just knock it out right away. So I would give your email and your phone number because you would be surprised at how many people will just call you flat out right then and say, hi, I just got your note. Thanks so much for that. Here's your feedback. Okay. I also have found that many judges prefer phone because they want it to be off the record. They don't want you to ever be able to, say, oh, well, so-and-so told me they liked me better than this person or whatever. They want it to be off the record. So I always give your phone number as well, just in case they can give you a quick call. I have never one time received a handwritten thank you note from any pageant contestant in all of the pageants I have judged. Never once have I received that from an actual contestant. When I've sent them for every pageant that I was able to get information from, I've always sent the judges a handwritten thank you note. And I've never once received it. And I think it's fascinating that girls don't think of this stuff. It's so valuable. When I was competing, long before I ever judged a pageant, I always felt like the judges were out to get me. Like I was the freshman on the first day of high school and that they were, the nasty senior that's like trying to trip me in the hallway. Isn't that an awful mental image? But do you ever feel that way? I mean, it was so real to me then. And then I judged my first pageant and my perspective completely changed. Since then, I have judged tons of pageants from Little Miss Canada Lake to Miss California pageants. And it's so fun because as a judge, you get to hang out with other directors, behind the scenes. You get to see what every single girl brings to the table. You get to ask the questions that you want to ask and really want to know answers to. And you get to go out to dinner with all the other judges. You get to chit chat about life. And then you really, at the end of it all, you get to be a part of changing a woman's entire life. All of this happening in one day or one weekend. It's totally awesome. I want to break down for you 5 real reasons that judges actually want to be on a judging panel. And I hope that this gives you the insight that you need to just relax and do your part to showcase your best self for each of them. Now, the most common reason that judges end up judging a pageant is actually, and honestly, to help out a friend. Usually the friend is a director of the pageant or a producer or the judge's chairperson or something. Another common reason is that they just want to be a part of all the hubbub. They know that pageants are kind of a big deal. And so there's a certain level of mystery of what really goes on behind the curtain. And so they really just want to know what it's all about and kind of judge a pageant off of their bucket list. Some pageant judges want to be the one that selects the winner. They want to say, I am the one who chose Miss Florida, Now, sometimes judges feel like they have this power to uncover a diamond in the rough. They are rooting for the underdog, and they want to watch a woman just rise with confidence and overcome all odds and empowerment under intense pressure of something like a pageant. And then finally, in fact, most often, the number one reason that judges want to judge a pageant is because they want to be the one that draws the winning lottery ticket for someone and makes their dreams come true. Imagine, really, if you had the power to be the one that pulled the $1 million lotto ticket, and then you immediately got to usher that person onto stage, take pictures with them, be a part of their entire win and really be to credit for that. I mean, imagine that. How exciting would that be? You would have an instant connection with that person. They are like a new celebrity and you're the one that selected them and you made all their dreams come true. That is really a huge reason why many people, this is really one of the reasons why I want to be a judge, because I want to help women's dreams come true. So now, I want to hear from you. What qualities do you think are the most important for any pageant title holder? What qualities would you love to see? So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below this video and don't forget to subscribe. Share this with a friend who you think would be super interested in this, and I will see you on the next Win a Pageant Wednesday. Lots of love, my dear.